Not yet. All right. Now we're live. We're live from two different locations, but the same location.
Oh.
Would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, we are in two different locations, but the same location. We are in the same house, but two different rooms.
That is the truth.
That is amazing.
How do we do it?
Well, technology, helps us get through these things. And I'm glad that we're able to be here. Hey, how y'all doing? What's good under the scroll? This is my beautiful wife, Erin Moffitt, soon to be Walden. Well, we're married, but we haven't gotten all that stuff out the way yet. Go ahead,
you were pointing the wrong way. I'm on the other side.
Well, not where I'm at.
But where I'm at.
See, now you're pointing to me, but on your screen it looks like you're pointing the other way. How's that working? Because right now you're pointing to me.
Yep, I was pointing at you.
And right now I'm pointing at you. You're seen differently.
Well, I'm looking at the screen that everybody else can see.
Oh, well,
yeah.
How about that?
Oh, that's it.
But for me, it looks like I'm pointing to the wall. Oh.
Okay.
Anyway,
well, we have a viewer on D Live. That's exciting.
What's good? How you doing, D Live? What's up?
Oh no, I hit the button. Hang on. Nope, we're good.
Well, thank everybody, huh? Go ahead.
It's any word on D Live said I bought more ARRR yesterday at 66.6 cents. Don't know what that is.
66.6.
But it can't be good. But you were going to say, you were like, welcome everybody. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Welcome everybody. Thank you all for showing up. If you did, and if you didn't, hopefully you catch this on the, on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Catch us on the flip side. You know what I mean?
Word.
That's all the slang I get out of you is the word.
And if you're here, you can say hi in the chat and let us know you're here, because that helps us to know that somebody is actively and interested in watching. Actively interested. Yes.
Yes. Actively interested in and watching, because sometimes we be talking to ourselves. We can do that without the camera.
You're good at that. I'm not very good at the talking to myself thing.
Well, I've been doing it for years on Blog Talk Radio, just talking with the phone like this, not knowing who's anywhere. I mean, there was a chat room. We could see if there's anybody in the chat, but I didn't like having the chat room open, because for me, it was a distraction. I ended up reading stuff in the chat and getting off the topic of what my show was about. So I never really had it. If I did have the chat room open, I had a co-host that would read the chats and handle that madness.
Let's show people what we were going to do, or let's tell people what we were going to do this weekend, and then we can show them why we're really glad we didn't do it.
All right, go ahead. You got pictures?
So we were going to go camping, and if we would have gone camping, then you can see on the screen right now that this is how much snow they got up in Red Lodge where we were supposed to be camping. This is where we were going to be camping, and it is I can share the screen. I forgot. So that you can see what we're looking at. Let's do that.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know what you're showing, but I couldn't see it. Yeah, see.
This is what we would have been dealing with if we had gone camping. We would have woke up at some point in the night with our tent collapsing on us, because that's all we had was a tent. And my friend went up there, and she couldn't get her car out. They had to leave their bikes. They had to leave the camper. All they got out was their truck. So this is like an awning thing that was covering some seats and everything for them. That was collapsed. The awning on the camper was collapsed. Oh, they don't have the picture of the truck. There was a picture. Well, you can see the trucks back here in the cars. Look at how much snow. It's insane. I'm so glad we didn't go.
Yeah, and on top of that, us not being snowed in up there, I was able to spend the weekend at my mother and father-in-law's house while they were on vacation. And I was there taking care of the dogs. And, it kind of brought me back home, because I have two dogs in New Jersey. very similar to the two dogs that I watched at their house. Lincoln and Chloe, very good dogs, just like Zeus and Beatrice in Jersey. So it was nice being there. I did miss you guys though. I really did. It was fun when you guys came up to see me and hung out for a little bit. But I did miss being home. I'm glad to be back home. But yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend.
I was going to pull up our video on my phone and I had to quiet it down. So yes, and then the girls even stayed with you. So when he says his mother-in-law's house, those are my parents. So he was dog sitting. Isn't that nice? Thought it was quite nice.
Well, it was well worth. I'm glad that I was able to do it. You know, your parents are great people. They really look out for us and take care of you. Before I moved here, they was always helping you out and always there for you. And you guys have such a great bond, a great relationship, and they're really good people. So I was happy to help.
While we had that time, while you were doing that and I was here and whatever, a lot of stuff has happened. Well, a lot of stuff has happened since we've been live. We have not been live in a while, and we're glad that we can come back and be live. If you're here, please even if you can't stay, hit the like and come back or invite your friends or do whatever. But we have a lot to say about a lot that's been going on, but one of them is people being nuts about this Roe versus Wade thing and acting like they're not killing babies during all that. That's one thing that's been going on. Another thing would be, obviously, this school thing. I don't even know how much I can say.
Yeah, it's a shame that we can't say things. We're stuck. We're saying snake bites, and we can't even say things that happen. I mean, what is this? Does that make sense that we can't even say what happened? We can't say that. That's crazy.
No, we cannot talk about these things the way we would like to. So we'll just try to talk about it as much as we can. But one of the things that we talked about ourselves was the similarities of this event to other past events and people needing to believe that children actually passed away. And they might have or they might not have. But we know that in the East Coast version of this, that there was parents specifically one parent that was laughing before he went on camera. You remember that?
Yeah. I can say his name, right? Robbie. What's his last name? Davison?
Don't remember.
Something like that. Robbie something. But we've seen, most of you who are aware and awake to what's going on have seen these things, have seen what we're talking about when the guy, I think his name is Robbie Davison, where supposedly his daughter was one of the ones on the East Coast version who was taken away. When he was on a press conference, he got up smiling, laughing, and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, when the camera gets in his face, when he realizes that the camera's in his face, he gets serious. And then he starts acting like he's sad, he's wiping his eyes. But right before that, he's joking around, having fun. It doesn't look like somebody that lost somebody. Not one bit. And then all of the other instances, all the other things that we see as far as that school, as far as how it was immediately torn down, how there was no camera footage of anything. And there's cameras in these schools. There's no footage of anything. All the rubble was just whisked away and taken away. It's like the school never existed.
It was not even in use at the time that this happened. The school was not in use. And you can find these videos where we're not going to show it because if I even put those words up on the screen, we'll probably get taken down. If I even put the SH, not the swear word, but the school, the town, if I even put that stuff up, we'll probably get taken down. So you can find that video, or you can email me at ladyliberty@countermail.com and I can find it for you later. And another thing we talked about was the Boston situation. There was a lot of stuff that was really fake about that. And one of the things I noticed, because I ran the Boston Marathon and I broke my hip in the Boston Marathon. And when I broke my hip, there was nobody could help me. There was no wheelchairs. I had to climb onto a bus, and the bus drove me to the end. And I fractured my femur all the way through. So I couldn't walk at all. And then on the bus to the end, I had to climb back out, drag my butt, basically, no wheelchairs, nothing, to where there's doctors, there's EMS, there's nurses, there's all that there. Nobody had a wheelchair, not one person. But what happens in a cover picture of the Boston Marathon that year, that there was a FF, there's a guy in a wheelchair that supposedly had his legs blown off. First thing you don't see is any blood trail. There's no blood on the ground, and there's no blood behind him. But his legs were just blown off, and he's in a wheelchair. So me and my mom would laugh about this, and we'd say, where'd they get the wheelchair from? They just get some old guy off the street and throw him out of it and go, get out of there, old man. We need this for the guy that's legs just got blown off, because EMS does not have wheelchairs. The best they might have is a stair chair, and that's for getting people out of buildings on the stairs.
And now tell them about your mother's work history. Like, how would she know that EMS doesn't have wheelchairs?
My mom was a nurse on ambulances and on flights. So she was riding with paramedics and on flights for emergency situations. She was a flight nurse, and she was never a medic, but she was always a nurse, but she rode on ambulances. My mom started the first paramedic program in Montana. She graduated the first class in Montana, and my mom helped put together their whole flight program at what was called Deaconess Hospital, which is now called Billings Clinic. And she did all of that. So she knows about EMS. But I do too, because I was a EMT, but I didn't ride on the ambulances. But I personally experienced at the Boston Marathon not being able to find a wheelchair to get my butt from where I broke my hip to where I needed to go at the end of the race or anywhere thereafter. I had to literally drag myself on the ground to get anywhere.
And so what's that tell people? Because it's like right now, all they're doing, they can just put out whatever they want and people just going to believe it. That's how blatant they are with this whole thing now. They got people so screwed up in the head that it doesn't matter what they put out. They can put out crash dummies and say, look at how many people died here, and people will believe that's that. You can probably see their arms connecting, the connections of the crash dummies. You can see the crash dummies' head, but people will still believe that it's people. That's how twisted they got us. And
again, don't they have pictures of that East Coast version of those kids growing up, kind of like they do with the space shuttle?
Space shuttle people, yeah. They trying to say they have twins on everybody.
Yeah, one of them, they're trying to say it's his brother. Oh, that's just his brother.
But it's not. It's more than one. Everybody that supposedly died in that space shuttle thing has a twin. They're all alive still. But what happened to the people on Flight 93? What
is that? The one that went into the Pentagon supposedly?
Yeah, no, that's the one that flew in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, and there's no debris anywhere. There's no debris, nothing.
There was audio of them coming to pick up debris, and the guy was like, "What are we here for? There's nothing here." And he said, "There's nothing here," and he goes, "It looks like somebody just took some scrap metal and sprinkled it all over the place." That's exactly what he says. Well, I wish I had that. I wish I could. I had all this stuff back, when all this stuff happened.
You could probably find it, but if we showed it, we'd get taken down immediately because we're not on Odyssey. We're on YouTube, unfortunately. I mean, I was just listening to who's this guy? Oh, his name's on the tip of my tongue, but he's got a huge 2.5 million followers on YouTube, and so we're going to get to the NRA protest that's going on in Texas, but he was saying that someone should go BOMB that building. He said that without any repercussions at first on his podcast on YouTube, and he has 2.5 million followers, and then he goes, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. Conservatives can't take a joke. Well, he's saying he wants to eradicate this building that the NRA is meeting in right now, and somebody should go do that. And I guess he ultimately did get a strike, but we can't get away with anything ourselves, but he can say unbelievable.
Right. Well, just look at, I have a video, because they took down, I think, 3 of my videos, my music videos, for violent content. And one of them had drug use in it, and they were saying that I was promoting drug use and showing people how to do drugs in one video. The dude was shooting up, but I went to the Weeknd's video. The Weeknd has a video where his head is severed off, and it gets sewn back on. And these women, they find his head in the middle of the road, bring it home, just his head, lure men, they lure men into their house, cut their heads off, sew his head onto their bodies, and have sex with the dead corpse. That's allowed up. So on my video, I put that at the end of my video, saying this is allowed up, but my video, the God of this world, showing things that are happening around the world, just war and babies that have been aborted and fights and all whatever, that got taken down for violent content. But that weekend video can stay up. You know, you can have somebody's heads cut off and find a head in the middle of the road with two women can pick his head up, kiss the head. They were kissing the head, making love to the head. It was madness. I'm like, this is allowed up. And then you look at Cardi B's videos. That stuff's allowed up. You know, so it's crazy how the truth hurts, and the truth is tearing down their narrative, so they can't have that up there. But all the other stuff is fine to have up. So if you guys get a chance, check out that video. I can't remember what it's called. Something about Billy G and the Weeknd or something like that. But you'll see it, and you'll see how what I show about that weekend, the Weeknd's video. It's toward the end of the show. So if you want to skip through all the other stuff, you can go right to that.
So you're saying you have a show on that?
Yeah, I have a show about the Weeknd's video. Yes.
Yeah. So what another thing we did when we were talking about this stuff is, so again, a false flag does not mean people don't die, but most of the time they don't even have to. Clearly the guy's legs didn't really get blown off in Boston, and I'm not afraid to say that, because I know that if they did, there would be blood on the ground, and where did they get the wheelchair for him? I mean, it's just clearly staged. We see the same actors over and over again. One gal who was a teacher who supposedly died on the East Coast version died in was a witness at the Boston Marathon. So
you see that a lot too. You see a lot of these crisis actors all over the place.
Same people appearing place to place. I mean, the lady who got mad about the shooting in California in a bar. I don't want your thoughts and prayers. I want gun control. And she's wearing a Disney sweatshirt. She's been seen in multiple videos too. That's not her first rodeo.
No, it's crazy. When we get into this, we have a lot to say about this whole gun control issue, and I think it's a lot more than what people are thinking. I think it's a lot more of what this whole narrative is being based on. They're leading everybody to that. I don't think people understand that they are leading you to that debate on purpose to keep you away from the real thing. And there's other things that us as believers should be doing. We'll talk about it once we get into the video.
Well, and another thing we really want to bring up is what have we said? What have we tried to tell people on this channel about police? What have we tried to say about their training, about their desire for your protection and your rights, and the lack thereof? There is no desire for your protection. There's no desire for your rights. And the whole world is seeing that, interestingly, for some reason. The whole world is seeing that with this recent incident, because the mainstream news is reporting how these police stood down for an hour. That's a very interesting thing, because we know that that's what they're trained to. So you and I are not surprised. We're disgusted by it if that's what really happened. If people were murdered and they stood by for an hour while it happened, that's disgusting. But you and I wouldn't be surprised, because who's supposed to make it home that night?
They got to get home. As long as they get home, that's part of their job, is you make it home safe to your family. So it doesn't matter. See, people, when we break down these cop videos, it's not just about them hurting people so they can get home. It's also about them not doing their job so they can get home, not going into dangerous places so they can get home. We've seen video of the two female cops in Chicago, I believe it was, watch a crime happen right in front of them, and they drove away from it because dude had a gun.
That crime was people pulling up on a man walking down the street, opening fire on him. The cops had dash cam footage on, and they drove away. And there was two females, I believe, drove away from the scene.
Drove and then drove away fast. Got up out of there because they feared for their own lives. So they're programmed to take care of yourself. So what happened in this place that just, where this joint just happened at? The same thing. they stood by and waited until it was all over before they went in there. Number one. Number two, some of them stopped parents from going in to get their kids. Number three, some of them went in and got their own kids.
Yep, that's what Daniel just said, right as you were saying it. He said, I heard, unsure of the validity, that the only cops that eventually went in to save their own child. And again, no matter what, let's say it happened exactly the way the narrative says, then it doesn't surprise me one bit. Because that's how cops are trained. Police are trained to make sure that they make it home. They don't care about you. But also very interesting that it's coming out in the mainstream media. So I wonder if it's not true exactly. It didn't exactly happen the way they're saying.
Or is it true and they're trying to do something else? Like stir up some type of controversy about police. More controversy than is already here. Make people not trust police. To make a bigger divide. Like I talked about before. I think we did a show on the same thing about how the blue shirts are now becoming the brown shirts. The brown shirts from the Nazi times. That's what they're going to be the ones that are going to be just following orders and rounding up people and doing everything that they told to do. They're already doing this.
And I want people to understand that these aren't just one bad crew of cops. This is what a lot of cops would do. And one guy got really mad at me because he said, I don't know of any cop that would put his own life before children. I said, well, I know of a whole group right there. And I've seen video of their training where they're saying, your life, you need to get home at night. So if you have to kill a grandma or a kid, they say that.
They say that.
And then
we've seen this, and I think we showed it on previous shows.
We had a whole show where we did 2 parts. And we showed a bunch of disturbing video where several people were murdered by police. And that video doesn't show the most recent one where a kid smelled like marijuana and the police shot him in the back of the head because the kid got freaked out about. And if you want to see this stuff, just go to James Freeman channel. James Freeman on YouTube. There's other ones that do very similar stuff, but he's the one where I see most of this stuff. Where the kid smells of marijuana, gets freaked out because the police are acting weird to him, tries to walk away.
And gets shot.
In the back of the head.
And were they good cops? Are they good people? What is this?
Yeah, well, he was a good boy. That was my son. He was a good boy. Which is what the mom of this mass murderer, if that's what he is trying to say too. And I'm sorry, but this reeks of FBI infiltration, MK Ultra, Monarch mind control.
Where have we seen things like this before? Remember back in 1993 when they tried to take out the World Trade Centers back then, and the guy got arrested, but he got arrested for where did he get the funding to buy the materials to make the bombs that they tried to blow up the World Trade Center the first time in 1993? Where did he get the funding from? He got it from informants of the FBI. That's where he got it from. And all of the money came from them. And then when he wanted to do it, they arrested him. We got him. You set him up. What is
Timothy McVeigh.
Where did this kid get money to buy these things? He worked at Wendy's.
And why did Timothy McVeigh have a vague recollection of what happened after the fact? Or
Sirhan, all of them. Why? Where's this? How is this happening? So there's a couple of things we're going to break down when we look into all of this stuff. But my question is, where did this kid? And everybody's already saying this all over YouTube. Where is this kid getting the money to buy these things that he bought and the ammo that he bought?
I remember when I bought that Desert Eagle and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm paying like $2,250 for this thing.
I know.
And I'm like, this is and I had to buy ammo for it. I didn't go, but that was, and you and I don't do badly with money. We're doing all right. So it's like, if I'm nervous about a $2,000 gun, I couldn't just jump up and go, well, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out $5,000 for all this stuff. I mean, you could say he saved it, I suppose. You could say he was saving it, but
that's a long time working at Wendy's. That's you must be working full time, and every check he's saving for at least 2 months.
Right, and
because he bought 2 of them.
Right, and just so much ammo that he's going to carry across a football field length of time, from the car to the.
And ammo is expensive for a reason, because they don't want you to buy it. So they made it expensive. So he had to have enough money to buy the 2 things that he bought, and then enough money to buy all the ammo that he bought, and then know how to load them, and know how to
Right.
do it, and then
Without any training. I mean, again, a weapon like that is probably not too difficult to figure out, but to be able to figure it out to the point like that you don't run into some problems while you're out and about using it.
Right.
That you're not. Although apparently the cops gave him plenty of time to figure that out once he got inside that school. But it doesn't even sound like the school was a destination. It sounded like he shot at some other people. The first call came in at 11:30 or something because he shot at post office workers or something different. I can't remember.
Well, he shot at his grandmom, I think, first.
Well, he did. That's the first person he shot, and she's apparently still alive. And then he shot at some other people, so they call 911. Then somehow his vehicle breaks down or was hit.
Yeah, well, it got ran into a ditch or something because he was getting chased by the border patrol. Somehow they engaged him after all the other shootings. They got calls, and they engaged him. He shot a border patrol agent, and then took off, and that's when his car ended up in the ditch somehow. But then he decided to go to the school and do what he did.
Which he would have had to climb a fence to get through the field or go around, and then go to the south side or north side. I can't remember which. Anyway, go to this opposite end of where he walked around from. I mean, none of it that clearly wasn't his original destination.
No.
But the audacity and massive hypocrisy coming from the people that are protesting this is really kind of beyond comprehension, because they're yelling at NRA people going to the NRA protest and calling them baby killers after this whole Roe versus Wade thing and their explicit desire to kill babies. I don't understand.
And I guess we're going to show High Impact Flicks Brian's video footage. I think it was on his YouTube channel. Here's the deal. I think he streamed it live. Well, no, I think the first one he streamed live was on Grease Monkey Videos.
He has everything here. It's all here on Here's the Deal. He's got 3 channels. So High Impact Flicks, Grease Monkey Videos, and Here's the Deal. So you got here, he's got, let me move us out of the way for a second. He's got the live at the NRA, and there's not much to see, but he talks about what happened. And then he's got the vicious anti-gunners versus NRA Proud Boys, which is very interesting because very few pro-gun people came out for this. And then here he's got, this one I haven't watched yet. And then this one is where he says hands-on police removed him from the situation.
Yeah. But the very first one that I think is the one there's not too much going on. That's the one that I want to focus on all of them, but that one has a lot of points in it. The second one has a lot of points in it as well. Actually, they all do, but with these people, let's go ahead and play. If you're ready to play them, let's play one of them, and we'll discuss it.
These 2 are live, so they're pretty long, but what I will show... Well, let me see. There is something I do want to show here. Oh, this is at the NRA convention. Let's see. On this one, he is approaching... I want people to know Brian is approaching people purposefully.
So, if you're just...
Yeah.
All right, so this is the protest sign. Excuse me, can you tell me what your sign means?
I don't know. I actually borrowed a sign. I'm just here to protest.
Just want to stop it there, and he is initiating conversation with people.
He's initiating, and in my opinion, I think we both talked about this. He's kind of being a troll here. He's kind of, because he has an agenda. His agenda is to try to persuade them to not vote the way they're voting or think the way they're thinking. That's what he's trying to do. Instead of just going up there and just talking to them, I think he's being more of a troll, and that's what agitates a lot of them, because they start to figure this out. So they start to get agitated. He could have went about it a totally different way. I really think so. What do you think?
Right. And these 2 women were great. The first example, they were very calm. They had a normal conversation with him. And I'm not going to show it because you guys can go to Here's the Deal and watch it yourself. But these 2 women spent time having a conversation with Brian, and there's another guy that got in on the conversation, and there was no angry talk. There was no name calling. So this was actually a pretty good. This was good.
This is how Brian should have did it. The other guy was on a gun rights side. He was saying things like, guns don't kill people and stuff like that. He was saying all types of things like that. So this is the type of dialogue that we could be having and should be having. But because people are so brainwashed, I'm not even going to say passionate, because it's a difference between being passionate and being brainwashed. They watch so much TV, they see what they believe to be or kids being killed, and they just get angry and it's just brainwashed, and they think that it's the guns are doing it, the guns are doing it, and you can't have a civil conversation with people when they're thinking in that mindset. And these people here may have that mindset, but Brian approached them in a way where they were able to have a civil conversation. But you're seeing later on that he approached people differently. And that on that same note, those people were in that chanting, "Stop gun violence," and "You're killing kids." So they already had that mindset. So no matter what he said, no matter how he came at them, they were going to come strong on him.
Well, and let it be known, I meant to bring this up earlier, that we pulled up an article. Well, I didn't pull it up. It came on my Facebook feed, but in that article, it talked about a guy went and murdered a chiropractor with a blunt force object. And when he did that, the reason he did it was because the chiropractor didn't cure his pain. And so he beat the guy in the back of the head 3 times and then started jamming his jaw. And the reason, with his blunt force object, the reason he did that was because this guy originally had jaw pain that he went to see the chiropractor for, according to his guilty plea. That's the reason he did this. And the chiropractor wasn't able to cure him. So what are we going to do? Are we going to ban all blunt force objects?
Right. And bring the way that, because we're just saying is their way of thinking is because this kid did what he did with that type of weapon, that all weapons should be banned and you shouldn't have nothing in it. Because you'll hear these ladies say that they want it. Well, I don't know if it's these ladies or some other ladies that are going to say we got to stop the manufacturers from making them. That's their way of stopping this. It's not just about laws. They're saying we got to stop the manufacturers from making these types of weapons so nobody can have them except for the army or the military or the police. So that's what they're saying. Yeah. But just think about this: how many kids? And I have this article. I should have emailed it to you, but it doesn't matter. You guys can look this up. How many kids have died in drunk driving accidents? And when I say drunk driving, I don't mean a drunk driver driving by himself, hitting a kid, hitting a family with kids in it. I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about the man driving his kids home that's drunk, or the man driving or the woman driving their kids home, or the family that's drunk, or the whatever. I'm talking about all drunk driving accidents. How many kids have died every year from these accidents? So you'll find out if you look it up that more die in these drunk driving accidents than they do in these type of incidents that we're looking at now. Way more. So do we stop the alcohol manufacturers from making alcohol? Because Brian could have asked any of these people out here, do you drink alcohol? What would they say? Oh yeah, I have a beer or two. You're killing kids. That's their mindset. It's the same thing. If they drink a beer, one beer, you can't have a beer. You're a child murderer. Because
what did the mainstream media just come out and say, and the CDC just come out and say? They said that now these school things
these incidents
are the number one cause of death in children.
Number one. Now, so they say that, and what do most people just do? They run with it.
They just believe it right off the bat.
Just go. Who looks up this stuff? The same thing happened with the 6-foot killer. When they was talking about how many deaths it was flying all over the place and killing people all willy-nilly. What happened? Where is that? Is it still doing it? Why is it still doing it?
And yeah.
The whole 6-foot killer thing, the whole narrative.
The left and the right believed it. The people on the right believed it. The people on the left.
It. And they can say whatever they want about how many it's killing and all that. But have you looked it up and found out what's really killing people? Have you found out how many people die from accidental falls? Did anybody look that up? Because I did. Have you seen how many people die just from walking down the street? I did. How about people that die from cancer? How about people that die from diabetes? How about people that die from smoking? Do they really care about you? Do they really care about you? Most of y'all that are watching this know that they don't. But what we're out here doing, it does seem like we're preaching to the choir. But what we want you to do is to share what we're saying to others, because some people don't have the guts. I was going to say the B word, but I don't know if I should.
I definitely don't have those.
I hope not. No.
I can guarantee.
I know not. Get my personal stuff out of here.
Oh, I thought you were trying to high five.
Okay, high six.
Oh no, it's a 6-fingered band. Oh.
But what we're asking you guys to do is share this, because not everybody wants to go out and say these things, or it's not easy to talk to people that are mind twisted, that are mind molded, that are mind bended, like Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe. That was his job, was to infiltrate people's minds, to manipulate, to indoctrinate, to Edward Bernays them.
It wasn't this guy, was it?
He worked with Cobra.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that was still relevant.
Yes, that's very relevant, because Dr. Mindbender was Cobra's intel guy. He was the guy that put out the bad information. That's why he was Dr. Mindbender.
Misinformation?
What did I say?
Bad information?
Yeah, same thing. Misinformation, disinformation, bad information, information, period. He was the one that put it out. He was the one that put the spin on everything. And it's hard to talk to people whose minds have been bent. It's hard to talk to people like that. So share these things out. Maybe we can help. Maybe we can enlighten people and show people, maybe you should think about something differently. It's not always red and blue. It's not always right or left. It's not always this way or that way. Sometimes it's something totally different. Sometimes they'll put the against the NRA over here and for the NRA over here, so they can be over here doing what they're doing.
Well, that's another thing that we talked about in this video, is they had these people fenced off in a way that you could, if you were protesting the NRA, you had to be behind this special fence in a certain area. And then if you were pro NRA, you had to be way over across the street over here or at the actual convention. And so this is, I mean, you can tell us why this is now, that this, what good does protesting do if you have to be fenced off and you can't actually, you're not getting in the way of anything. You're not stopping anything.
No, back in, what was it, 1993, I think it was. I think they had the World Trade Convention. WTC was trying to have a convention in Seattle. This is where they get this term called the Battle in Seattle. The World Trade Convention was there, and they were trying to do their thing. And the protesters came and they stood in front of the conference building where they were having their convention at, in front of the convention hall, and they chained themselves together so nobody could go in and out they couldn't have their meetings, because they blocked the entire thing off. And I'm not talking about outside. I'm talking about right in front of the building that they were going into. They were blocked off.
Right. They were their protest was actually causing a disruption of the business or the thing they were protesting.
Exactly. So they couldn't go do it. So what they ended up doing was making a law called the 2-mile law, the 2-mile rule, whatever you want to call it. But you have to be at least 2 miles away if you're going to protest. So that's why they have these people standing all the way over here and all the way over there, because they're going to go in and have their meeting regardless of what you're shouting outside. They're not even listening to you. They don't care.
It's not stopping anything. And the police are there. The police are there to enforce this.
They're there to enforce the separation of the two sides. And when every protest, when the Black Lives Matter people out there, we all know that they have a different agenda. They're not out there protesting Black lives being killed by police. We all know that.
They're actually rioting.
They're out there rioting, number one. But number two, their whole agenda is to tear down. It's part of the tear down and rebuild process. Because if they really cared about Black lives, then they would be in Chicago every night. They're not there. Chicago, I mean, I can't remember how many kids just died over this weekend. But every weekend, you get 15, 20 shootings in Chicago.
Right. If they were
murders.
really anti-gun, they would be protesting there. But guess why they're not? Because it's dangerous and they're probably going to get shot and killed.
And that's a great point. Number one. And number two, Chicago already has some of the toughest gun laws in the nation. I think they have the toughest gun laws in the nation. But yes, they have the highest gun murder rates in the nation.
Because they also have people dropping off crates of guns to them as well. There's lots of reports of people saying, I came around the corner by the railroad track and there was a crate of guns.
Yep. And so it doesn't matter what gun laws you put in place. And another thing, the whole Black Lives Matter thing, I'm sure we all know this, that if it was about Black lives, they would be in Chicago protesting about how many black on black crimes are being committed, number one. They would be all over the country and all over the world at Planned Parenthoods talking about how Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood, was a eugenicist who wanted to weed out black people, in her own words. We are weeds, according to her. And we needed to be weeded out. She said the best thing that a black family can do is abort their baby.
And they want you to believe that today. They want to think that it would be better for you to kill a baby than for it to have a rough or tough life, if that's even the case. If it's even going to actually have a rough or tough life, they think it'd be better off dead than to have a rough or tough life. And you and I talked about recently is that when I passed where I live, you live now too, where we live now, there is a huge reservation called the Crow Reservation. And Montana has quite a few reservations. There's the Blackfoot Reservation, and there's the Crow, which is a really big one, and then there's probably another one that I'm not thinking of. But Blackfoot and Crow are the two biggest in Montana. There's a billboard up that shows Native Americans with headdresses on and original clothing, and they're on horses, and it's saying like, our power, our time, our people, or something like that. And I'm looking at that going, who is that billboard made for? Because the Crow, if the Crow walked by that billboard, they wouldn't go, yes, power to our people. The Crow are just out there, sadly, a lot of them aren't doing too well because of these reservations. They got alcohol problems, they got drug problems, and they're not getting empowered. Who is that billboard made for? And who was it made by? When you watch TV shows and they show these very powerful Native American tribes that have casinos and all the stuff that they're doing, that's not here. That's not the Crow Reservation or Blackfoot Reservation at all. In fact, it's just the land has almost gone to waste that they live on. And when they originally put natives on the reservations, not only did they murder basically a lot of them by dragging them across the country, the Trail of Tears being one example, but they put them in places that they never originally lived anyway. It wasn't their original home. That's why they dragged them across country. Then they wanted them to farm, so they rationed food to the reservations to try to force them to have to farm their own food when these are hunter-gatherers. And then when if they didn't farm, and then their food was rationed, they shortened the rations so that they tried to farm. Then the natives would start killing cattle from the white men, and it created what did it create? Division, right? So I'm looking at this billboard. Who is this for? And who was it by? This was made by white people for white people. That's what that billboard is for. By white people for white people. The natives got nothing to do with that.
Spot on. It's the same thing with the Black Lives Matter and the whole black thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And when you're talking about division, every president that gets elected talks about bringing the country together. Always think the opposite, because they are not trying to bring anybody together. You can't put this country together. We're already divided. It was built on divided things, issues. We're divided by abortion and pro-abortion. I'm pro-abortion and against abortion. I'm for and against abortion. We're divided on poor and rich. We're divided white and black. We're divided in every way imaginable. And Jesus says it plainly, a kingdom divided cannot stand. He said that when the Pharisees were trying to accuse him of being Satan. And they were saying that he's Satan because he was casting out demons. And they were saying he's Satan. He said, would Satan cast out his own people? He said that wouldn't make any sense for Satan to cast out Satan. He said a kingdom divided cannot stand. So how can America be a country that's together and be all together when we're divided? How can America, a country that's divided, that was built to be divided, stand strong? It can't. It was never meant to. It's meant to give people the illusion of freedom. It's meant to give the people the illusion of we're more powerful and we're the number one country and all that, and to give people a sense of dignity or whatever. But we're not. We never were together. We were always divided. Not just this country, but the entire world has always been divided because it's not built to stand. It's built to crumble so that they can rebuild it the way they want it. The way that it was the way God made it at first. And Satan infiltrated that and tore it down. And now they want to rebuild it the way that Satan wants it. And that's how they want it, the way that Satan wants it.
And they don't, and a lot of them don't even know it, because a lot of these activists, as you and I know, and we've tried to tell people, if you listen to a lot of people who've said this over the past, not just Yuri Bezmenov, but he's a good example, where he said when they normalize, when they're done with the activists, when they're done with the useful idiots, when they're done with the mainstream media, those are the first people alongside any other dissenters to get killed or disappeared.
Yep.
Because they don't want them protesting the new normal that they're going to introduce.
They don't want you there. It's because they're not going to like what they see. Because like the homosexuals, the LGBTQRFs, GUBLMs, they're not going to like what they bring down. Because what they're fighting for now is not what these elite want. They don't want that. They don't want that chicanery. They don't want that tomfoolery.
Yeah, it starts with demoralization, which is why they allow all that stuff, and then destabilization, which is all the division, and then chaos, which is really fast, where they finally move in, and normalization is after that. So it's demoralization is the longest, takes like 2 decades or more, and then the destabilization is a little bit quicker, where what you're seeing now is happening very fast, until you get into this chaos time where that happens very fast within a few months, and then they bring in this new normalization. Now, for us, they can't do that until they get rid of our guns, but that's what we're seeing here. This is what they're trying to do. And those police could have very well just stood down simply to help push the narrative, because they're all on the same team. They're all doing the same. FBI, police, sheriffs, whatever. I'd like to think that sheriffs tend to be better because they are elected, but even then, sheriffs they still have the mentality of law enforcement.
That's right. And that's the whole point of it, is that I think that we're at the point where I think we're at that point. We're past normalization and we're headed towards the chaos part.
Which is actually, chaos is right before normal destabilization.
So where do you think we're at?
Well, it's hard to say because we also have our guns, and normally the method is, once we hit that like chaotic moment where everything finally switches over, it's very fast, and that can't happen while we still. So I think we're still in destabilization.
You can definitely see that they're destabilizing. You can definitely see that. I mean, it's right there. How the whole mindset of people. I want to get to that video where the people are yelling at him, if we can, just that one part where the pink dude, the pink shirt cat, and all them and all the yelling, because that shows demoralization. And you know who else talks about this? Alice Bailey talks about demoralizing and tearing down the morals, because that's the biggest part of the plan, is to demoralize people, to take their morals away, so then they can bring in all the other stuff. They can bring in the LGBTQRLMFs and all them. They can bring all that in. All that is immoral, and it makes it easier for that to go in. But let's look at this here, and let's see. Let's look at the thought process of people.
This one doesn't show, but there was a lady that did tell Brian at some point she hopes that his child would be killed in a school shooting.
She sure did say that. She said, "I hope your kid dies in a school shooting." This is the thought process of people. Go ahead, let's play this a little bit.
Baby killer!
There's a pink dude right there.
Keeps killing kids, baby.
Now, I don't know if people can hear it.
Can you guys hear?
Not showing as playing the sound.
Crossing the road.
Well, I'll just keep myself unmuted.
Baby killer.
So this guy's yelling baby killers to anyone who's going to or from the NRA convention.
Baby killer crossing the road. The list that keeps killing kids. Baby killer crossing the road. Do you need directions to the school, baby killer?
The audacity to say baby killer when just a week ago or so they were saying, I want to kill my baby.
Yeah, now most of these are liberals. Most of these, I can't say for sure. We can't say 100% that every one of those people there are Democrats or liberals, whatever you want to call them. But most of them are. And most of them are for abortion. Most of them, like you said, are out there. And I wish I had that one video with that chick, that black chick, was slinging something out of her stuff, banging it on the ground. It was a doll portraying a dead baby with blood on her, and she had it coming out of her legs. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. They blurred it out. It was that bad. But this is the mindset that they have created. They created this type of mindset where you can go around and kill babies to the point up to 2 years old in some states they're saying now. Like you said, if the baby will be better off dead, like they say.
According to what they believe, yeah. They believe they can get a doctor to say that.
Right. Then up to 2 years old, they can kill these babies and well, it's legal. Legal doesn't mean morally right. And this is the type of thing that these people are looking at, and they're believing this stuff. This is where we're at nowadays. We're at a point where we believe that it's fine to kill a baby. We believe that you can go ahead and have a sex change at 5 years old and 4 years old and get your pee-pee cut off and replace it with a vagina and take steroids and hormones and that's where we're at. And we're getting to the point where pedophilia is going to be allowed. That's next. I said this years ago that this was coming. We're on a slippery slope, y'all. There's nothing we can do about it. It's going to happen. But we should shed light on the subject. We should be out here preaching the word of God to people, because that's what's going to change it. It's not man's laws. Man can't fix this. Man created this.
No, my interactions with police are not going to change those police, but what it is going to do is it's going to help me be out there trying to push back and speak to the truth. And it's an exercise of my rights and freedoms. And so while I'm not going to change the whole police officers union and fraternal brotherhood, what I am going to be able to do is perhaps get them off my back a little bit more. Kind of like Duke, who's in the chat, said he doesn't get messed with as much because of lawsuits that he was involved in against police in Missoula, Montana. So anyway, and again, it's if we exercise our rights enough to where they kind of leave us alone, that's it. Or they might end up like Ruby Ridge. I don't know, but we're also trying to spread a message too.
That's right.
We're also trying.
You're shedding light on the situation.
So
and that's important.
So a protest is not going to do anything. We can't be out here protesting with a megaphone and yelling at people. It's not going to do any good.
No, but you out there actively engaging in police, because what you could do, you might not change the entire police world. You might not change the entire police department in Billings, but you might change that one police officer's mind. The same way we talk about when we're doing these shows, how we don't get a lot of viewers, but we might change one person's mind. We might help one person get saved.
That reminds me, I have a Zoom in a half hour. I just remembered. Woo.
I remembered. I was thinking of you.
Oh, good, because I can totally space it till just now, and I still got to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, so we can end this anytime. You know, we're going to start doing more shows together. I know it's been hard because we've both been doing stuff, and as much, and then we always look at each other when we're talking at home. And we say we should do a show together, and then something always comes up between the kids or me working or you're doing your stuff working. It's not easy, but we'll get back to this because these things need to be talked about. And what we need from you guys is to share this stuff. Share it. I don't care if we
Please do.
Huh?
I was saying please share, because yeah, it's this is a newer, smaller channel. Whether it's on, I am showing this on Facebook and D Live and Twitch too, but those don't stay. But yeah, please share, because I have to admit, it's been a lot harder without the bigger channel. And maybe anyway, or pray that we get some kind of reach, only in the name of Jesus, for His glory.
That's what we're not here for us. We're not here to make ourselves look good or any better or whatever. We're not any better than anybody, and none of us are. We're all the same, like Brian would say. I almost started to sound like him.
Brian would say, no man is better. No one man is better than another. Or the stream, or the stream is only as high as its source. The stream goes only as high as its source. So anyway, yeah, we the last thing we want to be is self-righteous, and we want to be selfless and just trying to give all glory to our Lord and Savior.
Amen. And I got a saying: the fish stinks from the head down. So that's my saying. The fish stinks from the head down.
I also do need
to. Stink, the head stinks. Go ahead.
I also do need to do a video to catch everybody up on some crypto information, and apologize for the whole COTP thing that went under. But again, it was a high risk. Well, again, I'm not saying again. I've said it to you personally, if you know me personally, but it was a high risk investment that a lot of us, not so much me, but you, lost money on. Your daughter, my friend, a couple of friends. One guy lost a whole lot. So, but that doesn't mean I'm done with the crypto world, and that doesn't mean we're done investing. It just means we put some money into something, and some of us lost it. And I will make a video. I will catch everybody up on that. I was bummed for a little while. I was feeling sorry for myself for a little while based on that, because I felt really bad what it did to others, but I also felt really bad. It kind of tore down some dreams and hopes I had, but that's okay, because certainly the Lord provides, and we're going to be fine. It's not like I didn't really actually lose money on it, but I had so much money in it when it went down that it was devastating.
Well, these things happen when you're in that space, when you're working in that space, but that could be anything. It doesn't just have to be that. I mean, I had businesses that I started. I had my vending machine business that went under because my cousin did some things that he shouldn't have done. So businesses go under. That's part of it. That's
true. That is true. 90% of them do in the first year, or in the first 10 years.
That happens. What do they say about me and Saoirse, our daughter, we always talk about starting our own, because I love to cook. We always talk about starting our own restaurant. But the restaurant business, you're not going to start making money until after about 5 to 7 years. So how long can you hold on? That's the key. Can you hang in there long enough to start making money? Because the first 5 to 7 years, you're going to be losing money.
That's a good point, and this is a learning curve when it comes to investing. I did say we don't know how long this is going to last. You said the same thing. So we knew it was a high risk. We just didn't withdraw fast enough. It just happened even sooner than we thought. So yeah, yes. I do have other things I'm doing. The reason I'm not making a video on one of them is because I can't figure it out yet. Because this stuff it's not simple. You don't just get to, that one was simple. That was the problem. It was simple. It was easy come, easy go. You just signed up, threw some money in, and they made money. But the problem is it held our money. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to figure out a working AI trading bot that puts the money directly into my wallet. And that's a lot more complicated than a company that will hold your money for you and supposedly earn it for you, but they'll certainly spend it for you too. So it's a lot more complicated, but once I figure it out, I'll be happy to share with people who are interested. It's going to cost a little more too, because you got to pay to use these things. I mean, unless you're going to build your own AI bot that can do trading, which I know I can't do. I don't know if you can, Sean.
No. Now, what people will say about that. Well, I got to put money into it. This is a scam. It's not going to work. Well, what happens with a business? Don't you got to put money into any business? In order for me to start any business that I started, I had to invest money into it. I had to put money in the cars when I started iDrive. I had to put money into my cleaning business company. I had to put money into the vending. I had to buy the vending machines, and then hope that I could find places to put them in. I even hired a place where they put them in spots for me. So all this is money. It's called what do you call that? Customer acquisition cost. That's what it costs to get customers. So you pay it.
Yeah, and if I, again, that was easy come, easy go, and I'm glad I did pull out money and get some things done with it. But it's going to take a little bit more work to make something like that happen for us again. And I want it to be safe. Again, if I can earn from a bot and it gets put into my own wallet, I hold the earnings, and nobody can take it. That's what the whole point of this. Nobody else can take it. Those earnings will go right in mine. I am doing another one that is probably high risk that they're holding my money, but I only threw in a few hundred just to see how it's a lot slower, so it might be safer. This other one was making us hand over fist. We were earning just crazy.
It was
Crazy. It was fun for a minute. It was
And
quite the wild
I started
ride.
small, and I was like, dang. You know what I mean? Like, I got big, it got big quick.
In fact, when it went down, I had 80 grand in there. So I didn't lose it because it was never mine to begin with. I didn't put in 80 grand. I didn't put in 10 grand. I only put in 3,800. And I pulled out 5,600. But well, that's because you and I talked about this. We said we need to start pulling money out of this.
Yep.
And so I did, but not enough.
Well, maybe it was enough.
It was. God's will be done. And I prayed that when we were praying about this, and we hoped it would come back up. What happened is they stopped us from withdrawing for a week. We sat through this not knowing what was going to happen. And I prayed that it would come back to life. But I also prayed God's will be done, because I kind of knew it probably wasn't. I'm like, I don't think it's his will for me to get $80,000 in 30 whatever days it was.
It was like a month and a half. You had 30.
No, it was not long to suddenly have $80,000. And if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it, right? And that's what people said to me. I go, well, it isn't. There's some things that were complicated about it, but it was certainly a lot easier than what I'm doing right now, trying to figure out this bot. Oh, way easier.
But people say it all the time. If it's that easy, everybody would be doing. But that's not necessarily true. Because
Definitely not true.
No, it's not true, because people don't believe it.
And for those who didn't get in, it was probably I'm saying it's probably good that you didn't. So
Yep.
So anyway, we're grateful to the people who are watching. We're grateful to the people who like. We're grateful to the people who are sharing, and we are grateful to people who pray for us. And if you need prayers from us, we'll pray for you too. You can email us. I'm ladyliberty@countermail.com, and you are bemusic1@gmail.com.
Yep.
And we will pray, and we'll even give you a phone number if you need to call us. That's something that's important, fellowship and being there for each other. So that being said, would you pray for us before we end the show, please?
So, well, before I pray, I want to thank everybody once again for showing up, and we're very appreciative of everybody. And if you can, please share these videos out and try. We want to grow our audience, so please share it, like it, and tell people that we're back and we're out here doing this again. And hopefully we can get more people listening. But we appreciate you guys out of here right now. So let's bow our heads and pray. Lord Jesus, thank you so much, Lord. Every day when I pray, Lord, I know I try not to say the same thing. I don't want to chant repetitive prayers, but Lord, you know these words are coming from my heart. And I thank you every day for waking us up every morning that you give us, Lord. We're not guaranteed this, and I know I say this, but we are not guaranteed every day. We don't deserve anything that you give us, Lord. And I'm very thankful for everything that you do for us. Lord, I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my kids, all of them, from New Jersey to Montana. I'm thankful for this family that you've given me here in Montana. I'm thankful for the blessings that you give us. And Lord, I ask that you will continue to bless this family and bless this ministry and bless my marriage, Lord. Lord, I'm thankful for the people that are watching today and those that may watch later. I ask that you will put in their hearts, those that are watching now, to share this information. And I pray that the information that we put out here today can be edifying and will help someone, not just to understand the system that we're going into now, Lord, but Lord, I ask that you will open up someone's heart, that they will accept you as their Savior, Lord. That is the main thing, Lord, and I want to stress that more, and I have been, and I know Aaron has as well, Lord, that it's not a gun issue, Lord. It's not about guns. It's not about preventing people from having guns. It's about changing man's heart. Man's heart is evil, Lord. And the one way out of this is not legislation. The way out of this is a personal relationship with you. That's the way out of this, Lord. And people need to understand that. And if there were more of us out there, like Brian, who was out there doing his thing, but if only, Lord, you would reach his heart. He knows the word. Reach his heart, Lord, and let him see that you are the answer. It's not changing legislation. It's not trying to get other people to think the way you think. It's about having a personal relationship with you. And that will change man's heart. Because man's heart is the problem, Lord. It's not the guns. It's not the knives. It's not blunt force objects. It's man's heart that's the problem. And I ask, Lord, that you will open up people's eyes to see the truth, to understand what it really is. And I'm so thankful for everything that you do, Lord. And I ask once again that you will bless everybody that's listening, bless everybody's families, Lord, and keep them all safe and healthy. And I'm asking you, Lord, that you will continue to give them strength to go through all these things that we are about to go through. But I'm thankful that we're here. And I ask that you will use all of us here that are listening and that are doing this show. Use us all, Lord. Use us as your tools to spread your word. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
You're welcome. Ooh. Ooh, one more thing real quick. Can I?
I was talking with the mute on anyway, so nobody knows what I said. Go ahead.
She said something about songs to play. She was saying she don't have a song. We ain't did this in so long that she forgot to put the song up. Right?
That's right. But you want to say something, so say it.
Yeah. Oh, do it. I'm starting to sell beats, EnS beats. You can check out all my beats on my YouTube channel. I'll put them up there every now, once a week probably or something, whatever. But I have a playlist of EnS beats. If you guys want some beats, I do sell them, so because I work on them like that. But anyway, hit me up for my beats, for my CDs, music, whatever. Hit me up. I got merchandise for sale and all that stuff. But it does help us out in the long run. It helps us to keep going because, it ain't easy. And, just hit me up. vemusic1@gmail.com. You got it.
And I shared your YouTube in the YouTube chat, and it's on the screen. So easy to find. Ninja Scroll 1. Or if you're just doing a search, make sure you search Ninja Scroll, but then do the filters that it's a channel that you're looking for, because otherwise it comes up with a lot of anime. But there's the link. And yes, buy some beats or share with people that might want to buy beats. So,
yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let us go to the grocery store and we'll just finish with the song.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Love you guys. Peace.
If you have money, you can buy anything.
It's another day. The rich take money from the poor, dress them up in pink, make them all race for the cure. Drug companies have billions and want more. Got you running out to buy pink stuff from the store. Use the stories to play the emotional game, make you feel shame, all the heartache and pain. It's a scam. They use cancer patients' name, take the money as a donation to make game. The cure already exists. No myth, think about it. You and I will go without it. You can't believe what the news may say, but I doubt it. Got you blinded. Your thought process is all clouded. Business as usual, money and wealth. They your companies, they don't care about your health. Need you sick to make more dough for themselves, raking in the cash every time a new drug sells. We got uppers, downers, antidepressants, drugs for seniors, and all kind of medicine. Psychotic drugs to suppress aggression. Even now drugs to relieve distressing. Yes, we drug kids, I forgot to mention. In drug-free zones for hypertension or ADHD, whatever you call it. Legal drug kingpins, we always call it. We got the FDA and the CDC. WHO all talk to Z. Yeah. Hand in hand with big drug companies, drugging up the whole world with these. This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. Legalized, only different from the common street thugs. FDA approved, safe and secure. There's no bug side effects swept under the rug. Politicians in cahoots with the drug dealers. They getting paid to pass laws and cover up mistakes they made. They don't care if you end up hurt or in the grave. The results of the drugs they gave. Big money in the health system. They don't want to cure disease. Make medicine just to hold off the sneeze. They can cure the common cold if they want naturally, but they won't, cause it's all about greed and greed. We got uppers, downers, antidepressants, drugs for seniors, and all kind of medicine. Psychotic drugs to suppress aggression. Even now drugs to relieve distressing. Yes, we drug kids, I forgot to mention. In drug-free zones for hypertension or pharmaceutical companies got us hooked since babies with all their vaccines and flu shots, whooping cough vaccinations, steady flow of money from the zombie patients. We get drugs, fluoride throughout our water, every day coming up with some new disorder in order to prescribe a drug, a fake fix that holds back the things that makes our brain stick. They get rich, they don't prevent from getting sick. Drug sales is how they keep their pockets thick. Big pharma and the alphabet, drug kingpins, only ones in the end that wins. It's a sin. We got uppers, downers,